Velocette LE. Manufacturer Velocette, also called Naughty Bike. Production 1948, 1971. Engine Mk 149 cubic centimeters, 9.1 cu in, 4-stroke, water-cooled, horizontally opposed twin. Mk 200 cubic centimeters, 12 cu in, top speed 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers per hour. Sup. 2 Sup. Power Mk 149 cubic centimeters, 6 brake horsepower, 4.5 kilowatts at 5000 rpm. Mk II 200 cubic centimeters, 8 brake horsepower, 6.0 kilowatts at 5000 rpm. And Mk 3-speed gearbox to shaft final drive. Mk 4-speed gearbox, suspension, telescopic front forks, swinging arm, rear brakes, 5 in, 130 mm. Front and rear tires. Mk 3.00 by 19. Sup. Mk 2 and 3 3.25 by 18. Seat height 7-10 mm per 28 in. Weight 120 kg, 260-pound dry. Fuel capacity 5.7 L, 1.3 imp gal, 1.5 US gal. Oil capacity 1 L, 0.22 imp gal, 0.26 US gal. Wet sump. The Velocette LE is a motorcycle made by Veloce Limited from 1948 to 1971. The designation LE stood for Little Engine. Used by over 50 British police forces, the police riders became known as Nardies because they were required to nod to senior officers, and the LE was nicknamed the Naughty Bike. Production ended in 1970 when the company ran into financial problems and went into voluntary liquidation. The Mk LE Velocette's director, Eugene Goodman, planned an innovative and radical design that would appeal to a new market that needed cheap, clean and reliable transport. Designers Charles Udall and Phil Irving developed the Velocette LE as conceived as a whole design, with engine, gearbox, drive shaft and bevel box in a single unit to do a specific job. The Velocette LE was launched at the British International Motor Show at Earl's Court in 1948, as the motorcycle for everyman. With a 149 cubic centimeters 4-stroke, side valve, water-cooled, horizontally opposed twin-cylinder engine, the LE also had a radiator and was fitted with coil ignition to help starting. The hand-changed 3-speed gearbox, engine and clutch were contained in special castings, and final drive was by a shaft mounted in a swing frame with adjustable suspension. Aluminium leg shields were designed to keep the rain off, and footboards gave it a scooter feel. The only instrument was a speedometer. To reduce noise and vibration, the pressed aluminium frame was lined with soundproofing felt. The water-cooled engine was well silenced, and riders reported that sometimes they only knew the engine was running by checking the ignition light. Carrying capacity was boosted by quickly detachable panniers and a glove compartment in front of the petrol tank. All this made the Mk LE expensive, however, at £126 compared with the BSA Bantam at £76. The odd looks also meant that it did not appeal to the usual motorcycle buyer. Mk II LE 1955 Mk II. Launched in 1951, the Mk II had a 192 cubic centimeters, 11.7 cu in engine, giving an extra 2 horsepower, 1.5 kilowatts, and strengthened bearings. Sales remained poor, however, and the company had to reduce the price. The clutch was upgraded, and an Amal 363 monoblock carburetor replaced the standard unit. The rear swinging arm was operated with cast aluminium to improve rigidity, and the brakes were improved. A breakthrough for Velocette was when over 50 British police forces decided to use the LE for patrols and ordered more than half the production. Ex-police machines can be identified by the aftermarket fittings for the police radio. These include the manufacturer's data plate being moved to the headstock, the word police stamped under the generator cover, and a distinctive V-shaped pressing riveted in front of the seat. This was designed to keep rainwater out of the battery compartment. The Naughty name. Metropolitan police officers of the time were trained to salute an inspector, or above, but when riding the Velocette LE this meant taking one hand from the handlebars. So it was agreed that instead they could nod to show respect. The police riders therefore became known as Nardies, and the LE was nicknamed the Naughty Bike. This nickname does not appear to have had anything to do with Enid Blyton's eponymous character. The Mk III LE. 1958 Mk III Velocette LE. In 1958, Velocette launched the Mk III LE with a foot-operated gear change and a conventional kickstart. An extra gear was added, together with 18-inch diameter, 460mm wheels. The instrumentation was relocated to the headlamp, and the petrol capacity was increased from a meagre 1.25 to 1.6 to imperial gallons, 5.7 to 7.4 L, 1.50 to 1.95 US gal. With 10 years development, the Velocette LE was more reliable and practical, but on the 3rd of February 1971, the company went into voluntary liquidation. The very last motorcycles made in the Veloce factory were Les. Production of other motorcycles had been delayed or cancelled to produce the LE in various forms, and the lucrative police orders had dried up with the introduction of the Panda car for patrol use by most forces. Kent County Constabulary purchased the remaining spare parts and were able to keep Les running until 1974.